World Dance Day or Theatre Day or Music Day is celebrated on Indra Utsava Purnima, which is Bhadrava Purnima, because that was the day decided by Brahma himself to stage the first ever theatrical production, Natya, to be technical, was a Samavakara, that was Amruta Manthana, was staged in the sylvan retreats of the Himalayas. Jagannath was not declared officially as the Rashtra Devata before Anangabhima Dev. Isme Jagannath was so cheap. The one who sits in the Ratna Singhasana with Raja Upachara has been brought down to this level. Is this our respect? Samskrita Darika and Odia Dari have two different meanings altogether.
Or this word have been deteriorated post.
Like Veshya. These Devadasis who were Sani Sampradaya, who were brought from your Madhukeshwara temple, were again brought from the Shiva shrines. So if people believe that it was Padmavati who danced in Jagannath temple, so far so good. And again, that also raises quite a doubt, because if Padmavati was married to Jayadeva, how was she permitted to perform in the Jagannath temple? There was a parallel Natya Shastra which was written for the temple audience. Amara India, everything goes under the canopy of modern Bollywood gibberish. Yes. You call it modern, that's not modern.
29th of April, World Dance Day. आमे वर्ल्ड कथा जानी ना, किंतु भारत रे आमे बहुत हर्ष उल्लास रे सहित पालन करछे, किंतु गोटे अजब कथा मु कहिबी जे आम निजर गोटे आम ओन डांस डे अच्छी, नृत्य दिवस भाव जहाँ को परिगणित करें, नाट्य दिवस भाव कहीपर, ता हूँ हिंदू पूर्णिमा, भागवत जन्म पूर्णिमा आम जो पालन करूँ, भाद्रव मासर पूर्णिमाटी। से दिन विश्वर प्रथम नाटक अमृत मंथन मंचस्थ होता, एवं से ही दिनटी को मन रखापी आम नृत्य दिवस भाव पालन कहीं क्यों कालू कर आसुचे, प्रति परंपरा प्रति नृत्य परंपरा निजस्व विधि रही से दिन पालन कराए। यही अवसर में आम आज ओडिसी नृत्य विषय कथा होइचे। लब्धर प्रतिष्ठा ओडिसी नृत्यशिल्पी तथा ओडिसी नृत्य गवेषक श्रीयुक्त राहुल आचार्य महाभाग सहित अनेक मते सब पचारती कहीं ओडिसी नृत्य विषय एपिसोड आसुना, तेरे समस्त खुशी खबर आम आज ओडिसी नृत्यर इतिहास विषय कथा होइचे, क्रम विवर्तन विषय कथा होइचे, ओडिसी नृत्य सेबे एवं एबे 1000 वर्ष तले एवं वर्तमान किपरि चलछि, कोन चलिबा दरकार, कोन व्यतिक्रम होउछि एवं कोन सुधुरिबा दरकार, सब विषय कथा होइचे। दया करी उपभोग करंतु। धन्यवाद। मैंने कथार्थ को स्वागत।
अशेष धन्यवाद।
आज मु गोटे कथा फास्ट रू कही रखे, तले फास्ट एपिसोड शूट करथिलु। दोज हु डोंट नो, कैमरा पछरे एठी प्रतीक भी बसछि, माने किछ बहुत लोग कहथिले माने ओडिसी ये विषय ओडिसी डांस विषय ओडिसी नृत्य विषय आनंदु। प्रॉब्लम हैला किछिटा सब्जेक्ट थाए जोथरे मु एटलीस्ट बहुत चूजी कि या विषय कहू तो ए लोग आसी कहबो, तेणु लेट हैला। नेवरदलेस we are doing it today, and most part of the episode we will be doing in English, because भाईनांगर गोटे इंटरनेशनल फैन फॉलोइंग्स भी अच्छी, and then also ओडिसी डांस विषय रे जमिति जेतले ओडिसी गीत विषय करथुल हम पाखरे गोटे भाषार बंधनी थिला, कारण आमे जदि भंजंग विषय कथा होचे इंग्लिश रे कथा ही परिबानी, से मादकताटा आसीबोनी, से जो शब्दर चातुरीटा आसीबोनी, किंतु we can go ahead with English if we are talking about dance, because we are not just talking about the performing art, we are talking about the history, the authenticity and all that we will see. That's why we will continue in English.
First of all, at the onset, thank you very much for having me here. It's my great honor, privilege to be here in a podcast, and you people have made it so popular. Mu kebe podcasts re asse nahi, very rare. So it's mostly very serious lecture sessions. So I consider it my honor and privilege to be here.
Pleasure.
So actually the World Dance Day, popularly celebrated on 29th April, was a date which was marked by the International Dance Council, UNESCO, CID, which has its headquarters in Paris, to mark the birthday of the founder of ballet, Georges Noverre. I might get the pronunciation wrong. During my time, we never celebrated anything like that called the World Dance Day. It's a couple of years back. And what I see is it's celebrated with pomp in India more than anywhere else in the world. The problem with us is we do not delve deep into our own texts because of whatever reasons it might be. So the first World Dance Day or Theatre Day or Music Day is celebrated on Indra Utsava Purnima, which is Bhadrava Purnima, because that was the day decided by Brahma himself to stage the first ever theatrical production, Natya to be technical, was a Samavakara, that was Amruta Manthana, was staged in the sylvan retreats of the Himalayas. So the day chosen was Mahindra Dhujotsava. This is very vividly described in the first chapter of the Natya Shastra. So when we have our own indigenous dance day, and Natya Shastra being the seminal text, the most ancient treatise on performing arts anywhere in the world. So when we have something like the Natya Shastra, there is no reason why we should follow, because our Shastriya dance forms are way, way before ballet. Ballet is only 15th, 16th, 17th centuries. We are way ancient than them. So why should we commemorate a dance day which is decided by the CID UNESCO? Indian dance forms are not governed by the CID UNESCO. So when we have our own World Dance Day, Theatre Day, Music Day, which is the Mahindra Dhujotsava, there is no reason why I should mark a specific 29th April as World Dance Day.
More pratham question hi rahibo ki a lot of us, we know that as we were speaking that day, that we have two topics to discuss upon. Everybody is discussing on that. One is Mahaprabhu Jagannath and his culture. A lot of misinformation, say Brahmanka katha ho ki otherwise and all and Odissi dance. Ei bishare Odisha re samaste expert. But thankfully we have an expert today, and people mostly correlate it that Odissi is just a part of the Jagannath culture, Jagannath Sanskruti. People don't see it beyond that. What is your take in it?
There are a lot of misconceptions doing the rounds. Now, as you cited before, these are very two common topics in Odisha, which is Jagannatha and Odissi dance. Everybody is a self-proclaimed scholar. And because of the lack of any, as we discussed before, the CRPC, IPC, Indian Penal Code, everybody is free to talk about it. The problem is there is a serious lack of research and a lack of academic insight into the dance form, which we are slowly bridging now, after 70-75 years of Odissi getting a classical status. Yes, there is a misconception that Odissi started in the Jagannath temple, which is not a fact.
Okay.
The term, as post-independence history tells us, was coined by Kavichandra Kalicharan Patnaik in 1954.
Okay.
There was no Odissi with that terminology dance existing before.
Okay.
As the post-independence historical record tells us. I do not want to reveal what was Odissi before post-independence, because it is this is our personal private research. Okay. So Mahari is used to dance in the Jagannath temple. But again, Jagannath was not declared officially as the Rashtra Devata before Ananga Bhimadeva. All right. The first available inscription of the Devadasi tradition in Odisha was found in the Brahmeshwara temple, 1054 AD, February 24th or 16th, something like that. I might be a little here and there with the dates, but 1054 AD. So then Jagannatha was not the crux or citadel of Odia orthodoxy or Odia culture then. The second inscription was found in the Sobhaneshwara temple, nearly. Third inscription, Megheshwara.
All of them in
Shiva temples.
Okay.
Of course, the word Mahari was not used, Darika.
Okay.
Now, Samskrita Darika and Odia Dari have two different meanings altogether.
Or this word have been deteriorated post.
Like Veshya. Veshya is not a prostitute, not a harlot. Veshya is someone who's an expert in Vesha, the one who's an expert in the 64 kalas. In fact, there is an entire chapter in the Natya Shastra called Vaishikopachara dedicated to these Veshyas.
Okay.
Now, we are still literally dependent. We are still not independent after so many years of independence. We still have that colonized mentality, and we still follow the British colonized education system. So we follow the morality or the moral codes which have been thumbed down on us by the colonizers, which are Christian in nature, Protestant Christian in nature. So that was the problem. So now the dance culture was very prevalent in the Shiva temples. In fact, in the Jagannath temple, as the inscription says, when Chodaganga Deva organized the coronation ceremony of his son, Kamarnava Deva, 1048 AD, 4748 AD, he brought in sanis from Madhukeshwara temple to perform for the coronation ceremony of Kamarnava Deva, who later were appointed to perform for Jagannatha. So these Devadasis who were Sani Sampradaya, who were brought from your Madhukeshwara temple, were again brought from the Shiva shrines.
Okay.
And besides the whole point, there is a huge misconception that Jagannatha temple is a Vaishnava temple. It is a Smarta temple, which has equal influence of tantric practices, Sabara tribal practices, Shaiva, Shakta, everything is prevalent there.
Just for our audience, when Mr. Rahul Acharya is speaking about Jagannath temple, he is speaking with a lot of authority. I just don't want to go in detail with his association with the temple, hereditary association with the temple, but just trust me, he is someone who actually knows. So yeah, Bhaina, continue.
As I always say, well, I am not an authority on anything because one never ceases to learn. Jagannatha sarvam rahashyam purushottamasya deva na janati kutah manushya. So I am definitely not a god, nor am I a demigod to know or have any authority over him. I will only know as much as he allows me to know. As Arjuna, being a friend of Krishna, did not know who he was. And Arjuna was instructed by Krishna in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Natumam shakyase drashtum ane naiva swachakshusha divyam dadami te chakshum pashyame yogam aishwaram. You cannot know me with your mundane eyes. I will endow you with divine eyes to contemplate, to even see my form. And in spite of being endowed with those divine eyes, Arjuna was petrified of that form. He was scared. So I'm just a very ordinary human being. One never ceases to learn. I do not speak with any authority. My gurus are the Shastras.
Correct.
I try my best to be loyal to the Shastras.
As we say, the monkeys only follow matas and the humans follow Shastras.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we are talking about the Smarta tradition of Jagannath temple.
So now there was a major Shaiva tradition that was associated with the Devadasi Parampara. Now there are copper plate inscriptions which have been discovered dating to Karnamakeshari, Karna Deva, with the names of 3 generations of Maharis, Rani Karpurashri, Mahuna Mahari, Udayamati, Rani Udayamati, all of them belonging to the Kashyapa Gotra, associated with the Mahavihara of Solanapura. So there was also a Buddhist Mahari system.
Okay.
And this whole terminology Mahari is quite controversial because a lot of people associate it with Mahanari, Mahati Nari. Mahanari is not correct as per the Sanskrita etymology or Nirukta. But I am still yet to figure out where this idea of Mahanari or great women came to be associated with the Maharis. I'm not intending to offend them because for me, they were definitely great because abandoning everything and dedicating your entire life for the service of Jagannatha, you anyway will be catapulted to a very elevated pedestal in my eyes. But did the temple administration think so? If at all, why did they come in the end of the list of the 119 sevas mentioned? And was it that unimportant that they were chosen to be rejected and nobody even bothered to revive the tradition? So this was basically the history associated with the Mahari tradition of Odisha. I will not negate the fact that the Jagannath temple definitely became the cradle for the Mahari system to make it very popular. Besides the point, Jayadeva had an immense contribution for popularizing what we perform as Odissi dance or Odissi music today because of the Gita Govinda and its practice rendition in the Jagannath temple. Well, if Padmavati, his wife, a lot of people negate that also. If she danced, there is no historical record except legends or references in Bhaktamala or Dadhyata Bhakti. There are no historical evidences. Yes, I have heard about some copper plate inscriptions dated around 1134, which were revived from Tekali village. About one Deva Sharma, who's supposed to believe to be the father of Padmavati. Well, Padmavati is not directly referred to there. But anyway, if at all she danced, I will not negate that. I will not debate that. So if people believe that it was Padmavati who danced in Jagannath temple, so far so good. And again, that also raises quite a doubt, because if Padmavati was married to Jayadeva, how was she permitted to perform in the Jagannath temple? Because Devadasis were supposed to remain spinsters or legally unwedded.
Yes.
So anyway, but Jayadeva had a major contribution to the Devadasi tradition of Odisha. But having said that, that is not the pioneer. We have references of Anargha Raghava Natakam of Murari Mishra being performed in the Gundicha Jatra.
Okay, and it will be dated around?
Before Jayadeva.
Great.
So Murari Mishra is before Jayadeva. Arya Shaptashati Shungara Kavya of Acharya Govardhana being performed. So what was the nature of the Devadasi dance or music then before Gita Govinda was popularized?
And when you were talking about Nataka, it is a full-fledged like...
Of course, because now there are references of Ramananda Patnaik, Rai Ramananda, employing the Maharis to perform his Jagannatha Vallabha Natakam in the Jagannatha Vallabha gardens. Now it is a Nataka. Now when I say Nataka, I cannot dissociate dance from Nataka, because the Dhatu Shabda, Natya, Nat, Nrit are the same. Now in the Natya Shastra, until 13th century AD, dance or Nritya was a part of Natya. Dance, music, instruments, everything flourished under the broad canopy of Natya. So they were all part of the same tradition. It was only segregated in the 13th century AD onwards.
Okay.
So whatever historians have cited, they have not been able to date anything before the 13th century AD or Sarangadeva's magnum opus, that is the Sangita Ratnakara, which actually segregated dance and music from theatre and elevated the status of dance and music, and they started being treated as separate subjects altogether after Sarangadeva wrote his magnum opus, that is the Sangita Ratnakara.
Okay. Now, taking it from what you have just mentioned, Vaina, you said Chodaganga Deva brought some Maharis for Kamarnava Deva's Rajabhisheka. If so, then we can decently take this theory that it is not just a dance form which was performed in front of gods. Also, it was a royal affair. People used to perform in Rajasabhas. Is it so?
See, the thing is that we have this whole, should I say, we are so, kind of motivated, or should I say, swayed away by antiquity, that all of us have this huge frenzy of associating ourselves with the Natya Shastra.
Yes.
To prove its antiquity. Odissi was known as Odar Magadhi in the Natya Shastra. So were the other dance styles. Let me tell you one thing very clearly. Currently, we have 8 schools of Indian classical dancing. Okay. Now, classical is a misnomer. It's again a very colonized word. It has got political connotations. Now, nothing which has not been passed by the parliament gets a classical status. So it's a very political thing. I call it Shastriya. Let me tell you one thing, that none of the Shastriya Nritya that we practice these days are connected with the Natya Shastra. They're all Desi forms.
Oh, okay.
All right. Natya Shastra does not mention any separate dance style. There is something called Nritta or Tandava, which was performed as a prelude to a production in the section of Purva Ranga. Before the actual production, Purva Ranga Vidhi, we have Nritta being performed. All right. The other was Abhinaya. So this whole frenzy of trying to give it an antiquity and connect with the Natya Shastra is quite a major problem with most of us. Okay. Odra Magadhi was not a dance style. There are 4 pravrittis mentioned in the Natya Shastra: Avanti, Panchala Madhyama, Dakshinatya, and Odra Magadhi. They were 4 regional varieties. Everything that came under these regions, and Bharata has been very clear in giving the exact geographical areas that fall under these pravrittis. Now, if I say Odra Magadhi, Pravriti, Odissi, yes, definitely is predominant in the Odra Magadhi Pravriti. So is Manipuri. So is Kuchipudi to a great extent. So is Satriya, pronounced as Hotriya, the classical dance form of the dance form that received a classical status in 2000.
Okay.
All right. So this whole frenzy of trying to connect it with antiquity, that everything has to be there in the Natya Shastra, and there is a huge misconception that from the temple to the stage. Natya Shastra was written for the proscenium stage, not for the temple.
Okay. You're saying it's other way around?
Yes.
Okay.
There was a parallel Natya Shastra which was written for the temple audience.
Okay.
Of course, it is lost. We can pull out elements of a temple theatre from the post-Natya Shastric period. There are a lot of rules written in the Vishnu Dharmottara Purana. All right. Now, from the works of the great Samskrita playwright Subandhu, we can very well figure out the type of, or the laws, or the whatever rules, pedagogy, whatever, that were meant for a temple theatre. All right. So, Devadasis were not governed by the Natya Shastra.
Okay.
There was a separate temple theatre, the separate Natya Shastra for temple theatre. Of course, because see, the thing is that the audience psyche varies in both these areas. When you are going to a theatre, a movie theatre, you don't go there with, chudidar kurta as if you are entering a temple. So you know what you're looking into. So the psyche is very different. Now, when I'm going to a temple, my motive is not to get entertained. Okay. My motive is not to watch a performance. My motive is to have that darshana. Again, what is that darshana? I am not seeing him. Just to give an attendance, he is seeing me. That is the philosophy of darshana.
Yes.
So this happens to be an additional thing to my temple visit. If I'm able to see something like that, it will heighten my rasa. It will heighten my mood of devotion. So the Devadasis or whoever danced in the temples, the whole play or the productions were designed like that. Of course, Devadasi to a great extent was Ekanta Seva.
Okay.
Entertainment for the Lord. Now, when I say entertainment, is a very, very demeaning word.
Okay.
Our performing art forms were not meant for entertainment. They were meant for rasanubhuti. Okay. Now, what is rasanubhuti? In the Taittiriya Upanishada, raso vaisaha. Now, Vishwanatha Kaviraja in the Sahitya Darpana elaborates this saying, raso vaisaha brahma swada sahodara. That is the younger brother of God. That is an experience akin to the experience of the divine. That is rasa.
Okay.
So it is not entertainment. It is meant to elevate. The Natya Shastra says, what is the purpose of Natya? Or what is Natya? न तज् ज्ञानम न तत् शिल्पम न सा विद्या न सा कला न स योगम न यत् कर्मम नाट्येस्मिन् यन्न दृश्यते. First chapter of the Natya Shastra. There is no art, there is no science, there is no craft, there is no knowledge which is not found in Natya. And what is Vidya? Vidya is not entertainment. Ya Vidya sa vimuktaye. One that liberates you. So we have to come out of that misconception. So to dispel this myth that because Odissi belongs to Odisha, it has to be antique and it needs to be associated with the Natya Shastra. None of the classical dance styles that we practice today were part of the Natya Shastra. Of course, they borrowed a lot of elements from the Natya Shastra. Having said that, a lot of Shastras or Lakshana Granthas were written after the Natya Shastra, which are equally important and considered as seminal texts.
This we briefly discussed the history of the dance form that we are calling today Odissi. Now coming a bit about the evolution. Evolution can be in terms of the mudras, the bhangis and all, but also it can be in terms of the attire and all. Overall, the evolution, how do you see it, and what we are finding through your research?
Oh, it's actually, I call it over-evolved now.
Okay.
It has over-evolved. It started spilling.
Okay.
It started spilling out already. Okay. So spilling out to such an extent, now it's gone beyond control limits. Anything is and everything is possible. If you wear a silk sari in the same side kuncha, the side pleats, or a front kuncha with a bengopatya and a tahia, everything goes in the name of Odissi.
Kali just mu dekhuthili someone in a opera stage.
I know that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yes, absolutely. The problem with the present generation is the lack of research, the lack of diligent, sincere research.
But also, I feel like those who were performing, do they really care about it? I mean, there is a dance form that is so ancient or that is so novel to us that this the ama parichaya, as we say. Do I think just that? I mean, they are like, okay, this is something cool. People are saying it is something great. I'll wear it and I'll be that cool.
The problem is the present generation is suffering from a serious identity crisis. I don't understand what is a global identity. I am an Odia at heart. I'm born Odia. I'm indigenous to Odisha. Odisha mo matrubhasa, and I'm proud to be an Odia. So wherever I go, irrespective of the part of the world I am in, lecturing, performing, teaching, I exude that Odiyatva in me. So people should see that Odissi is indigenous to Odisha. Odissi has lost control and gone beyond the boundaries of Odisha. I would rather say Odissi is slowly getting hijacked.
Okay.
The problem is, I do not understand. There's a different Delhi Odissi, technique differs. There's a Malaysian style of Odissi. There's a Karnataka style of Odissi.
There is something that is performed with
American. Yeah. I do not understand what this kind of Odissi is. When you call it Odissi, you have to be true to the land.
Correct.
Is there a Malaysian Bharatanatyam? There is none.
Yes.
Do you get my point? Yes. So this present generation of people, students, whatever you call them, suffer from a serious identity crisis. So in terms of the evolution, change is the only constant. Tradition evolves. Okay, but with proper care to know the rules.
Yes. You need to know the rules
to be able to bend the rules. And then if I learn just the technique, just the pedagogy without actually putting in my own diligent research, I don't know what I'm bending. I don't even know what the rule is, so I don't know what I'm bending. So everything goes under the name of fusion, contemporary, temporary. The Indian context, contemporary is a form in the West.
Yes.
So ame jo kohu modern dance is not what you see in India's gibberish. There are proper techniques for modern There were revivalists or people who fought with the strict grammar of ballet.
Yes.
And they had modern pore postmodern asila, contemporary asila. There are proper forms. These are proper forms with even street dancing, for example, in Canada.
Yes.
It has got rules. People are very true to the rules. Do you get my point?
Yes.
Amara India, everything goes under the canopy of modern. Bollywood gibberish.
Yes.
You call it modern. That's not modern.
People have to understand Bollywood dance form is a form which is basically there are non-dancer, there are a set of choreographer who initial choreographer all were classical dancers. They had to make them dance, the heroes and heroines, and then what was the outcome was Bollywood.
All these reality dance shows and these judges talk with such authority, as if they're experts on every other classical dance form. Somebody commenting on a Duibhanga, your Duibhangas and Tribhangas, I don't want to drop names here. She's a very well-known choreographer, Bollywood choreographer. Duibhangas and Tribhangas. After almost 4 decades of my dancing career, I'm yet to figure out what is a Duibhanga in Odissi. We have never heard of that terminology. There's a Samabhanga, Abhanga, Atibhanga, Tribhanga. I do not know what a Dvibhanga is. So that is the problem, because now what is available, what is exhibited, what you see on social media, on television, that is what it sells. That is what sells.
Okay.
So that is the problem.
And mostly, I feel now we are in a time where there is a set of people, one set of people who are mostly about how to appear in reality shows. In Odisha, I'm talking about.
Of course, yes.
And,
but that is the trend. Now some people make it a point to become famous. The motive is to become famous. As a result, there's a lot of superficiality, and the concrete, the solid work is lost. Because you have to meet with the peer pressure of performing to the audience. That is not the purpose of Shastriya Nritya. You don't have to convince anybody. First, convince yourself what you're doing is right. The audience is carried away with you. The audience is I'm not here. I'm not dancing to the tune of the audience.
It is a byproduct.
Yeah, the audience wants me to strip on stage. Will I do that? No.
Yes.
So I have to be elevated as a Shastriya Nartaka, Nartaki dancer, whatever. The audience gets carried away with me.
Okay.
Do you get my point?
Yes.
So that is the whole idea.
By now, as we are discussing about audience, I think when we are discussing about something like Shastriya's Odissi dance form, the audience has to come a bit educate also. I mean, they have to learn something, then come to enjoy a dance show. What is your take on it? How to do it?
Okay. So it's like, imagine I putting you in a genetics class. All right. I am a biotechnologist. I have a degree in biotechnology. So imagine me putting you in a genetics class. What would you understand? You're an engineering student.
Yes,
I put you in a genetics class. It's exactly the same thing. Yes. Now there are stages. Okay. We have something called the Rasa Siddhanta.
Yes.
So there are major 4 classical rhetoricians who have commented on this concept of rasa. As I told you, the purpose is rasanubhuti. So we have post the Natya Shastra, we have Bhatta Lolata, Shishankuka, Bhatta Nayaka, and Acharya Abhinavagupta. Abhinavagupta is very famous. Everybody knows about him. So the greatest commentator on the Natya Shastra. They come with different stages of evolution. So it's very clear. It doesn't stop with Abhinavagupta, but usually we teach until Abhinavagupta's theory, he brings in this concept of Sahridaya.
Okay.
And there is a proper definition of who a Sahridaya is. If you're not a Sahridaya, you cannot appreciate it. All right. So there is a concept of Abhida, Bhavakatva, Bhojakatva, Sadharanikarana, Sahridaya, what is Pratiti, what is the theory, how to educate an audience. Now, who is a Sahridaya? A Sahridaya, in very common terms, would be someone who understands your mind. Sahridaya is close to your heart.
Empathy.
Sympathy, call it whatever.
Okay.
All right. Someone who understands you. So that means someone who understands the dance. Do you get my point? Now, how do you, if you're not, either you're a practitioner yourself to understand the nuances, or you condition yourself with frequent visits.
Yes.
All right. So I go to watch performances couple of times, many performances, and over a period of time, I get conditioned to become a Sahridaya.
Okay.
All right. Now, it is not possible for us practitioners with our own schedule of teaching, catering to our students, performance tours, lecturings, and all of that to really have. Now, of course, there is something called a dance appreciation course, which is being organized by various universities. Well, thanks to the new education policy 2020 of the IKS, which is focusing on with the present government, which is focusing on the Indian knowledge-based system. So it is mandatory for everybody. There are minor courses offered to understand indigenous dance forms, art forms, performing art forms. And there are dance appreciation courses being organized frequently. Say, for example, dance writing. How do you become a dance critic?
Okay.
Do you get my point? So this is being organized, but again, it lies with the audience. Is the audience really interested to understand the nuances? That is very important. Now, if I respect my culture, if I call myself to be loyal to Jagannath, mu Jagannathankara mane Jagannathanka desara manisa. Jagannatha is my Rashtra Devata. All right, if I take that pride of belonging to Jagannathankara Desha, am I loyal to that Jagannatha? If that was the case, Jagannatha would not have been hanging behind my car, scooter behind my scooter, chumbaks on fridges, refrigerators, t-shirts with Jagannatha. Is my Jagannatha so cheap? The one who sits in the Ratna Singhasana with Raja Upachara has been brought down to this level. Is this our respect?
Correct.
So that is the problem we have to deal with now. You know, that is why these are called classical arts. So we are not expecting it to have a mass appeal. So that is the problem. The thing is that, but again, people who are interested will any which way become attracted. Even Bengali sari bhi pindhi dekari you wear the Benga patte, it still be called as Odissi. Bharatanatyam had received a classical status, so Odissi was just called Odia Nacha. We have space for everybody. You don't like Vedas? Fine. Become a Vaishnava. You don't want to become a Vaishnava? We have space for Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Yasmat Prayogam Nayati. तस्मात् अभिनय स्मृत एटी संस्कृत व्याकरण मु झाड़ी भी ना अभिनिंधातु अमक शमक कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ ओडिसी is not one straight history. I have a huge collection of shastras.
Even नृत्य शास्त्र रे
को जगह रे मुद्रा रो नहीं मुद्रा माने अभिनय टा चारि प्रकार अछि. तो if you don't understand the angika, vachika, aharya and satvika. Devasar was a contemporary of Kokila Prabha Mahari. Koili Mahari, both of them were learning from the same Guru Mohan Mahapatra, who was a Gotikodi.
जय जगन्नाथ. जदि आम वीडियो आपको भल लगी दयाकोरी लाइक करंतु, सांग मानक सहित शेयर करंतु एवं सब्सक्राइब करंतु. वंदे उत्कल जननी.